Mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Good afternoon and good evening, folks. And I think my face is going to pop up. There it is. Man, everything's lagging, including myself. But this guy was on time, waiting for me. He's like, where the hell is Brick? So hello to everybody. Sorry for the delay. It's all me. Today we got Mike from Dio-Bolic, formerly High School Creations, the fine creator of Wall XD and now Mythic XD. Yeah, like, is that right?
You got it right.
I was like, this and this and this. What's up, Mike? Thank you for hanging out today, man.
Oh, thanks for the invite. Glad to be here.
Of course, because you got some exciting stuff. And even if you didn't have this exciting thing, man, what you do is right up my alley, as folks know who watch. Like, I love indie creators. I love artists. I love just I don't know, all that stuff is super inspiring to me. But then when you put it together with like making stuff for our hobby, like, it's awesome. So
cool.
So yeah. Plus this guy, folks probably know you from a little bit of like being here on YouTube. One, more recently, like being everywhere on ToyTube, like, talking about your thing. But also he's got a monthly stint, let's call it. I think I referred to it when I was sort of promoting your show as what is it? The international syndicate that is the Enablers or something like that.
Right.
Is that right? Yeah. It's
yeah.
And by international, I mean Canada and the United States of America.
Yep.
So, yeah. So that's he does a show with Kevin, toying around, and a couple of the Enablers have been here. Who has not? And if whoever that is, I'm sorry. I got to figure that out. But anyway, welcome to the show. And so I'm excited to have you. And now I'm just rambling. How are you doing, man? Like, can I just ask you in general, how are you doing with all the Kickstarter, going on? I think you've been traveling, right?
Yeah. So the past week, so we launched Friday, the new Kickstarter. Obviously,
Yep.
A lot of planning goes into that weeks before.
Yeah.
But since the Kickstarter, we're at a conference. We're at the Titans Toy Expo in Nashville, and we traveled to. We've been home for about a week, and now we're prepping to travel up to New Jersey for Legions Con. First time at Legions Con. And then, we're taking the show on the road. We've been on YouTube for like the past 3-4 weeks, at least 3 or 4 times a week. And then now, we're taking it to the streets. We're at Titans Toy last weekend. This coming up weekend, we're going to be in Jersey for Legions Con. And so just a lot of traveling. And before that, right, there's all the lead up, right? All the pre-campaigning, all the designing, prototyping, not to mention the work that we do just to keep the lights on and stuff like that, right? Etsy orders, custom commissions, and all that. So it's been a race. And I will say it is sometimes a little overwhelming, but it's fun, right? I get to do what I love to do. And but Kickstarter can be stressful. We're in just over the first couple, 9 days in, right? We're at 30%.
Yep.
It was 31%.
Fresh.
But watching those numbers, still fresh. But it's always a nail biter, right? Because you don't know how people are going to interpret it. Obviously we had people with hands on beforehand, but you're releasing something to the world, and it's always how are people going to take it, right? And there's always the good, the bad, and the in between. And so here we are. We're going into week 2, and this is typical. This is the waiting part, right? What are people going to do? You have the initial release, the build up, and then the weeks up to that last week, you're kind of like, okay, what do we do? We keep pushing, promoting, showing off new things. What haven't we shown? We're going to show something tonight no one's seen yet. We've talked about, but I'm good, man. Long-winded, but I'm good. I'm happy. I'm here.
Well, yeah. I mean, because you're doing it. I mean, like, this is your passion. This is fun for you, and this is now your work. And people obviously want to talk with you, myself included. People want to see this stuff. You're going to meet people, I'm assuming. Like, it's one thing to be here and talk to the folks in chat, who we will definitely say hello to in a second. But like you get to, I got to assume you're meeting all kinds of people when you're like at Titan Toys and.
Oh, tons of people that come up,
Yeah.
had either been watching some of the podcasts that have been on recently,
Yep.
or like my wife's like, "Do you know that guy?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "I could have swore y'all were best friends." And it's like you getting to know people for the first time in person, right? And people that it's kind of one-sided for creators a lot of times, right? There's a lot of people that see us and know us, right? But we haven't got the chance to meet them yet. And so these conferences allow that connection now to be bi-directional instead of one-directional, which is awesome.
Yeah. And they can, no, I think it's really great. And I got to assume, especially like being at Titan Toys, like for folks, we've talked about it here before, but Titan Toys is a toy show, but it's also very much like about creators, and they're like bringing in contests, and people are bringing in dios and stuff. So like it's your people. It's like people who know your stuff, and you probably know their stuff. So I got to assume folks are like talking shop with you, not just like, hey, your stuff is cool, but like compare notes or whatever. Was it kind of like that? Did you feel like you were a group of peers at that show? Or
I will say that there was a lot of, because it was a 2-day event, there's a lot of people that hung around that were in attendance, that hung around the table and kept coming back and talking. It was fun, right? Talking shop, asking questions. Just want to call out like the creator side of it and the events that they had around those contests. Like I've never seen a conference do that. They were handing out what looked like crystal awards as well as cash prizes.
Yeah, it was kind of wild.
It was super wild and awesome. And I was late to turn in my diorama, and as they're like tallying stuff up, I was like, "Is it too late?" And they're like, "Ha ha, yeah, it's way too late." But like the dioramas were awesome. Like the custom action figure portion of it was awesome. The photo contest was awesome. Like they had 5 different categories, and it was just awesome to see that everybody was excited. It was very much an indie focused and influencer community type event, which was really cool. Everybody hung out afterwards in the lobby. It sounds like it's going to be very similar to Legion, so I kind of got like a pre-Legions lead up, which was cool, and had a great time. I hope they do it again next year because I'll definitely be there.
I hope so too. I'd love to go someday. So Legions Con you mentioned is this week. It's a huge week for Four Horsemen fan nerds like myself, because they're going to be doing it basically starts on Thursday with Intern for a Day, which I got to do last year. That was my first Legions Con, and it happened to be Intern for a Day.
Nice.
So my brother and I went. He was my +1, and it was cool, man. We had a blast. And then the next day it was did I say that right? Yeah, Thursday. Then Friday is G-Con. So this Friday is going to be the first G-Con after Beathir, after last year. So it's sort of like people want to know like what's next, because the story arc ended, and now we're moving into a brand new set of figures that starts effectively this next story. So that's going to be exciting. I won't be there with you all, but I'm going to be like right here with that TV on streaming, I think, with a couple of people like, hey, let's just watch it and talk about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, my students. I think I'm going to be sick on Friday. So sadly I can't go, but I'll be there in spirit and I'll be watching. But it's going to be, man, if you clearly had a good time at Titan Toys amongst your folks, but this is definitely that. I'm sure you've heard from everybody, like 78 is going to be there. Like, Duarte is going to be Duarte, like Detour, all these like amazing makers and creators who I watch and love. Yep. You're all going to be there. And folks are, even though people make similar stuff, folks are super happy for you, celebrating your stuff, 78's launch of stuff. So I don't know, man, it's kind of cool to see. So, in the spirit of that, in the spirit of the community, let's go ahead and say hello to everybody who's here hanging out with us live. And then let's get a little bit into a little bit of ephemera before we talk about you, sir. Let's see. So first and foremost, this guy I know you'll see for sure. This week, it's Recon Rage Blake from the West Coast, from Portland. He'll be there. This guy is here. What's up, man? Yo, Jordan from Canada. What's going on, man? Thank you for always coming through, being positive and hanging out. DJ 5000. What's up? I think that's a new name to me, but hello. Or unless is DJ also a Doombot? I think I need to do some setting thing. I keep hearing the toy tubers saying I can change the names back, but
is that a YouTube thing?
Apparently, I've heard people mention that, and my brain is too preoccupied to figure things out like that. Ryan, what's going on? Mr. Ryan Clark Toys is here. This guy dropping bricks. What's up, Rick Jones? Hello to you, South Bay. We've got this guy who will be there in the hallway. He was there last year with Dio-Bolic Makes, and this year he's got his own booth out in the hallway. What's up, Josh?
That's number one right there.
Yeah, dude. I got to help him with a little project. Him and this guy. What's up, Erwin Papa? Oh, where'd you go? Erwin Papa, what's up, man? Being able to like, I basically like who rided on this thing is what I did. Josh, like work with Dave Igo to design these like cool kaiju, and then he got Erwin Papa to do these awesome illustrations, and I'm like, can I do the letters? But I'm actually, it was super fun, super happy to do that. Let's see. That is Christopher Bouchard. See, I'm translating now in my brain. What's up, man? Good to see you. This is probably John, but I'd be surprised if it was Josh of the Collecting Brothers. What's going on? Oh, there you go,
man.
Nice.
See? Thank you for the support.
Yeah, that was a good deal too. We'll talk about that. But man, they had early bird bundles. Like, folks, like, learn your lessons, man. Check out those crowd funds early. And not just those Hasbro ones, man. E. McNeil is here. What's going on, man? Always good to have E. This. Oh, see, got confused, Nolan. See, my brain is doing the translating. Not Nostrum82. It is Nolan. What's going on, man? J-Mac. This one's relatively easy. J-Mac, what's going on? 77 usually. Larry's Geeky World is here. This is going to be his first show.
Oh, nice.
And J-Mac, you're going as well, right? I think so. He knows how I roll. He's like, dude, just stop being weird and actually show your work. I will. I'm not sure if this guy's going, but hopefully he does. What's up, Trevor? I know he's going. How are you doing, Trevor? Let us know, man. I checked in with Mike earlier. Like, how are you doing? How are you doing, Trevor? You got to be stressed right now. I got to assume this guy's taking photos up until like whenever he gets in the car to drive out to Jersey. Wild. Oh, see, there you go. Oh,
I call this the Trevor window.
So that he can get in some light too to shine through.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. See, there I knew it. What's up? Oh no, DJ 5000. Got it. And same guy, new and improved. Good to see you. This is I am Julius Downey is my brother Ted. Ted, hit up Mike. Ted of Imaginary Action, who I know you know of. Let's see. See, I knew it. This dude's gonna be working up. If only he had some Mythic XD for these shots. Or anyways, keep it going. Let's see. This guy, Bat Force Grumps. What's going on, man? Grumps? Good to see you. Man, I appreciate Grumps so much, both in terms of Batman stuff and other stuff. What do you think of that new Batman? Grumps beating up on those white supremacists. Pretty damn cool. And Brick, am I going to Legion's Con? I am not this year, man. I am not. I made it a point to pull Grumps aside. He was in the middle of a conversation with Machu last year. He's like, hey man, I just want to say hello. I was going to dinner and I just need to say hello. All right, man. Let us we will definitely talk about your stuff, but the first piece of ephemera that I want to talk about is sort of timely. First off, if you're new here, that URL that's about to squeeze by and brush up against Mike's beard right there, bit.ly/brick something news. You can go to after the show and I'll have links to everything, including all of Mike's links and anything we take a look at. There's also going to be that QR code down there covering up Mike's microphone.
Mike's mic. There you go.
So, all right. Before we get into you talking a little bit about you and your background, I got to acknowledge that it's November 2nd, which means, how do I do this again? I go over here. Happy Dia de los Muertos. Feliz Muertos, folks, to those who observe Dia de los Muertos. And shout out on this note to Rise of the Fifth Son, Jason Demon, who is working on his line and who will be traveling to the depths of Kickstarter like you have been soon to get his line out there. But he posted this just a little bit ago before we went on. I was like, oh, let me show that. That's perfect. So folks who, this is Miklan Tek. Oh my God, he's going to kill me. Miklan Tekutli. Sorry, my Nawat sucks, obviously. I was colonized. So this is the sort of keeper of the Mictlan, which is basically like the land of the dead. So if you're familiar with Dia de los Muertos, the idea is that, folks live on in another realm. And I actually don't know what the lineage is, if the Spaniards sort of like tried to end this notion or like plopped Catholicism on top. But basically, the idea of Dia de los Muertos has roots in like indigenous Mexica culture, Aztec culture. And so this is the keeper of that sort of land of the dead. And prototype, I got to assume that this is just, this is without cuts and everything, but just showing off the sculpt. But
sculpt is sick. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, your reaction earlier. Yeah, I think this is, I'm there with you. Like, damn. This line's super exciting. I don't know if you've been paying much attention to it, but it's a line full of like just all Mexica Aztec stuff.
Oh, really?
So,
no, I've been sleeping. I need to check that out.
So you can see a lot of his sculpts on Josh Brown Customs. He does a lot of stuff there, and as well as a bunch of other places that print stuff out. Jason's super duper prolific, and he's been on the show before talking about this line. So we're all waiting. Sculpt looks great. But yeah, that's it. So happy Dia de los Muertos, folks. Let's talk about the living. Let's talk about Mike. High School Creations, aka Dio-Bolic. Dude, I was telling you before that like I appreciated you telling this story. I'm forgetting like exactly. I think it was actually Collection Nexus where you kind of the most recent version retelling of the story about the name, and then you kind of like went back to that. And I mentioned to you, folks know I'm a high school teacher, but folks may not realize that my first gig was actually teaching art. I knew I wanted to get into history, social studies, but because my art background in school, it was like real easy for me. I didn't have to take additional classes to get my art credential. So I did that and then waited to get my other credentials, etc. But talk to me about the name a little bit, because I love that it actually like has the name High School Creations has some significance. Can you tell us a little bit about that before we get looking at Wall XD?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that's the origin story here, right?
Yeah.
So in high school, some kids were picking on me, and I fell into a vat of toxic waste. And no, I think
creative.
Yeah. No, I all my life, like the one true thing aside from the stuff that you do every day, breathing, seeing, eating, like the thing I did the most all of my life is creatively have these ideas and turn them into something I could visually see, whether that was with paper, building something, modeling something, or more recently, right, designing in 3D space or on the iPad or something like that. And throughout my entire life, I've always been, I guess, the art guy, right? I'm not extremely well at it, right? I just do it and love doing it, right? And I've just done it for so long. I used to get into art schools, like summer camps and stuff like that by winning contests. And in high school, I did 4 years of art, which is typically unheard of. Who does 4 years of art? But I did 4 years of art.
Okay. Yeah. That is actually really unheard of, and how you fit that in.
But
really let me ask you real quick. You said you entered contests. Like, was it particular type of art?
It was all, it's like media, hand-drawn media and stuff like that, right? Paint, stuff like that. I didn't really do a whole lot of sculpting or anything like that. So it's always been very flat, and I always liked doing stuff in pen and ink. I didn't like doing color and stuff like that. It wasn't until, I got a little bit older, which we'll get into. But anyway, in high school, I was that guy drawing weird things. Yeah. I was that guy just drawing weird things in the back of the room. And for some reason, I kept them. I kept them in a binder, at least the majority of them that I can remember, I didn't give out. And, after high school, I wasn't creative at all, right? I did the whole, chip on the shoulder 18-year-old thing, right? All the way up to probably my mid 30s, right? I just went to college. I did, hung out. I did all those things, and I had no creative muse. I didn't do anything creative. I was a technology major. Go ahead.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So what was occupying your time? So when you say tech, like digital stuff, like
Yes.
what do you mean technology?
So I followed my dad into IT technology, specifically when you say IT and technology, there's so many different areas you can go into, but specifically, I got into a small startup software development company where I help with operations and maintaining compute and deployment for that specific code by the software development team. So I was an operation, or what they call today DevOps, and I did that up till about 4 months ago when I basically hung my hat up and decided to do this full time. But
nice.
Anyway, I went into IT, did that, and then 2017, me and my wife had our first child, my son, and
Nice.
they were very generous with this, the stay-at-home father portion of the paternity leave. And so we were cleaning out his room, and I found that binder. I found all these notebooks, stacks of notebooks where I was drawing stuff. And it just something triggered. I got an iPad. I started digitalizing them, and I started posting them. And I was very nervous about posting them as myself. And I was like, what do I name these as? I want to do it at Instagram, because my buddy were talking about doing this. And he was also very shy about posting the stuff and feedback. And I was like, I don't know. These were from high school. They're high school creations. So that month, this was December, like I just started drawing a bunch of stuff, dude, and posting it on Instagram. That stuff's still all out there, but that creative explosion took me back to comics, action figures, cosplay, and I just had an explosion of this creativity. Also, I got to share it with my son and now my daughter, and started watching all the shows from the late 80s and 90s and the new stuff, and it's just been a creative explosion since then. And little did I know that we were on the edge, or in the midst of like this golden age for action figures and these indie companies. And that just fueled the fire. And here we are, 2017, whatever the number of years is since then, 8 years, like
7, 8.
I've gone way too far. I'm deep. I'm so deep in what I thought was a hobby at one point. And I love it, dude. It's just an amazing time, this creative explosion. I credit my kids for that, because they kept me wondering. Their wonder triggered me to re-wonder and think things and revisit things. And, they're I guess what sparked the passion back in me for creativity and just imagining things and being very creative.
Kids will do that, and I've found something sort of similar in terms of, I mean, it's kids, it's just big life changes, right? Like you tend to get maybe a little bit more reflective and nostalgic, and then we got like into the whole pandemic thing, and I think that just gave us like extra time to sit there and be like nostalgic and remember the old days. Especially when you have kids, you're kind of like, oh, I remember when I was a kid, or oh, I wonder if this was like what my parents did. And so I totally relate to that. And like you said, it's fun now being able to be like, hey, check out this fun thing that I used to like as a kid, right? Or check out the new things that exist for them. Even like I remember like whatever backyardigans or whatever, and you're just sort of like, I remember watching kids stuff, and you're watching it with them, and can't help but think about your own childhood. So let me ask you this though. You said that you weren't doing anything creative, but were you still consuming sort of nerdy things, or did you put those away with the whole DevOps thing too? Like because you said comic books in there, and I didn't know if that meant you hadn't read a comic book for like that long or watched stuff.
No, that's absolutely right. There's a whole probably decade where I didn't even watch movies, because there's these movies that come out. I was like, when did that movie come out? And they're all like, it came out, from like roughly 2004, excuse me, till about 7, 8 years ago. There's a lot of movies I didn't see. Obviously the Marvel movies I went and saw, but leading up to that point, like I was so involved with working full time, going to college full time, because I didn't get the option to do college by itself. I became an 18-year-old living on their own, and then it was just busy. I was also, working a couple jobs as well. And,
Sure.
it consumes you, and you have to pick what you have time for. And outside of those things, I was out being a 21-year-old boy. Right. And, or
Sure,
man, I
sure,
guess at
sure.
that point. So, I left all those things behind, and found them almost a decade later. So 10 years later, 31. All the things I missed out on, I got
Yeah.
to see what happened. Like even when Dragon Ball, I was a huge Dragon Ball fan, and so I got to consume all this new Dragon Ball media that came out in that span. It was awesome.
That's
But you're right.
yeah, yeah.
I tend to forget we had the pandemic, right? That's not normal. No one else ever lived through that in a
Yeah.
lifetime. Our parents definitely didn't up to that point. So we got this point in time where everybody was at home, able to consume all this, the technology gave us, right? Where we have information available to us when we want it to consume it. And what you do with it,
Yep.
really makes it, right? Whether you use it to, train yourself or become aware of something, or you just watch trash TV, whatever you do,
Mhm.
right? There was a good 3 years where that's what you did. You probably weren't too, but
Little, you can say a little column A, a little column B. Sure.
Right, right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I spent that time training myself. I didn't know I was training myself, but I was learning how to do all these things and get really well. I was experimenting, right? I had all this time at home, right? I was figuring out how to make bricks, hand
Yeah.
cut bricks, CNC made bricks, laser cut bricks, 3D printed bricks, injected, molded from the factory bricks. I've done it so many different ways, right? And just, I'm not perfect, but when I say perfecting, like making sure I'm better than I was the previous day at,
Right.
what I love to
Right.
do, and which is building displays.
So, okay. So then that's interesting to me. So I passed a Stargate you made. I was like, oh, I guess that was before the decade. He went sort of dark.
So that's the one thing I
fun.
did watch. I watched Stargate and Stargate Atlantis religiously.
Okay.
Like my dad was a Star Trek fan, and not really Star Wars growing up. And for some reason, that if you ever watched Stargate, like that was more Star Trek than Star Wars to me, and I was attracted to that TV show. Plus, I loved the actors. MacGyver was in it. Like that's the one thing I did watch very religiously if I was watching any sort of TV.
That's cool. Okay, so you fast forwarded. You said I started trying to figure this stuff. I'm assuming along the way that's because you started to buy action figures again, and then the desire to make sort of walls and bricks came to support that, or was it just I see people doing the Dio stuff, I want to figure that out? Did you actually get back into buying toys, or was it
I did
support? Okay,
and
what was that? Curious.
The first one was like it was a Captain America figure at Walmart that was on sale. I think it was in a weird suit. I think it was from like the last Marvel movie. I don't remember, but he was in that suit where they travel back through time. It was it wasn't the greatest figure, but it was on sale. I picked it up, and I was like, oh look, this thing can move. And looking back now, I was like, really can't move. But to the figures I had almost 10 years prior, maybe 12, I had Toy Biz figures and I still have them, but they did not move that like that. Now I bought it because I was into photography and videography. I was doing YouTube in 2011, but I was outside. I was doing like overlanding, hiking, mountain biking. Like I was outdoors a lot, hunting, and I was posting pictures about that kind of stuff and videos. And what led me to action figures was I could start taking photographs of action figures and environments. So I really wanted a figure, and I found that on sale. And that's what led me down the diorama. Like I really wanted to fill out the scene, and I couldn't always be outside taking photos. And I was like, well, what is this? And I saw Sergeant Bananas, Johnny on Tested, and I was like, whoa, what is, so he was doing all the element stuff, and he had this flat piece, what is diorama or a display. I didn't know people were making those, and I was making cosplay. And I was looking at how it was made, and I was like, I bet you I can do it with similar tools. So I just went to Lowe's and bought some foam, and I made my first brick wall. I was like, oh, I can do this. Yeah. So it spiraled out of control from there, right? I started making sci-fi dios, and someone was like, hey, can you make me one? I made him one. Then someone was like, hey, can I buy one? I was like, I guess. Yeah. And then I was like, well, how do I sell this? And it just went up from there.
That's awesome. Okay. So here we are. Now you're making dios, and along the way, I'm assuming you're like you said, you're playing with doing the CNC, or you're doing foam. It sounded like, and then eventually you get to 3D printers. I'm assuming like you started printing because of this hobby, right? Or were you already that with stuff?
There were guys at the software shop that I worked at that were talking about 3D
Uh-huh.
printing and the stuff they were making, and so I knew what 3D
Okay.
printers were, what they could do, but
You're
most of the
around
stuff,
it.
yeah,
Mhm.
I initially I wanted to hand make, like, so I was hand making fire escape, for example, and dumpsters out of foam, and it just didn't work.
Right,
Like,
right.
you could get the look, but it's not going to support a figure,
Mhm.
and it's going to break pretty
Mhm.
easy. So I tried doing wood. That's when I had the laser, and I was like, okay, but then I got to assemble it. And 3D printing really came in the mix, and I was like, okay, this kind of gets you what you need. You need something that's structurally sound, but for as many requests that I have, I was like, how do I get all these out? And 3D printing was kind of the answer, right? I could
Okay.
produce the same
Okay.
thing over and over again, right? I make it one time, make it as good as I can, and then I can print it. And then that becomes kind of like an accessory as I'm building diodes. I just plug that in off the shelf, kind of like windows, right? So that I'm just cutting up
Yep.
foam dimensionally, and then I'm attaching. And I think Vasco called this like a hybrid approach years ago. But, we had wood components, we had foam components, and we added in 3D
Uh-huh.
components to get all that realism, right? Those layers that really sell the display.
Very
Oh,
good.
then
This is
going
your
back to some.
2D art, right?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I'm drawing this digitally, but I'm looking at a reference, Jim Lee specifically here,
Yeah.
and hand drawing it.
That's awesome,
Um,
man.
and yeah, I love to draw.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly great at it. I'm not great at anatomy. If I had the time to sit down and pick this apart, I could
Uh-huh.
probably get really good at it, or at least decent enough to pass. But I just love sketching stuff, and sometimes it comes out great, like that beast. I was like, oh god, I drew that. Obviously I'm looking at a reference,
Yeah, it's awesome.
but I was like, oh man, I drew that. And then some stuff I'm like, okay, I obviously can't draw this without a lot of practice. But
Well, I remember seeing you during the first wall exit, and I think you were just, it might have already sort of had come out, and then you were painting stuff and you're doing graffiti and stuff. And I was just, oh, that's so awesome that I think, did you not do one of these beasts on one of them at one point?
I did, but that's actually laser printed. So I took the digitally drawn one and I laser printed it on it. Yep.
Okay. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but essentially, like, I'm just trying to get a sense of, like, dude, like, just taking all of those skills, and then one, we call it, okay, so teacher speak real quick. It's project-based learning, right? That to us is like the gold standard. If we could basically trick young people into learning by giving them like real world projects to do, and then they have to go, okay, well, I need to do this. This is what I want to do. Okay, well, then I guess you're going to have to go figure out that skill or get that information and then go. And they don't realize it, but they're doing research, and then they're, like, learning a thing, and then they're applying it. And that's essentially, like, that's what I'm hearing. I can't help but filter it through that lens when I hear you. You're like, oh, yeah, I have that stuff in the background. And then I started playing with this stuff, and I found my connection to it. So naturally, like, I wanted to do X, whatever it is. I wanted to take pictures of them in the wild, or now I wanted to build worlds. And then that was like the driving force for you to be like, I want to figure this out. I want to figure that out. Yep. And of course, nowadays, and with the internet and, the toy community and Discords and Instagram and everything being what it is, it's like you get to meet all these folks. You post your stuff up, people give you tips, or you find all these other people. And that's where you've landed. And I mentioned the community thing because what I've really appreciated about you and so many other makers is that we've hit this nice point. It might also be because we're all old, but like, we're old with parents that, like, the notion of, like, when you're younger, there's this weird insecurity that turns into like weird competition, like unnecessary competition, where now it's like, oh, how'd you do that? Oh, cool. Hey, check this out. And like, it becomes more of like nerding out with someone who gets you, and it's like sharing ideas. And so I see a lot of that in the way you do things and the way others do things. And so I'm going through these and like clicking on stuff, and I'm seeing names of like other folks who do the same thing you do. Like, hey, what's that? And I love that. I love that that's where we're at. I love that folks are generally like super supportive and trying to like share ideas. So, okay, fast forward. At some point, what I heard you say is, I was using foam, etc. I was trying to build this up, but it doesn't work. So the functionality became a thing. You're like, I can't actually build a fire escape that's going to support a figure or whatever. How do you get from I want to build a thing that sort of works and functions, to I want to build a thing that works and functions, but I can mass produce to share with others. Like, how did you get to that next part where you're like, I want to now, create a shop, and like the Etsy shop, and create stuff that can be sort of like mass produced and sold?
Yeah, that's
What
a
was
great
that
question.
jump?
And I think the biggest thing is demand, but also at the same
Sure.
time, like I've always wanted to be, I've had an entrepreneurial mind. Like I
Okay.
tried to do, you remember early on, probably 2010, when iPhones, they break obviously, but I had a small business where I fixed iPhone. I called it I break or I fix or something like that.
You were
And
that guy.
I
Were you
was
like at
that
the
guy.
mall, or?
Yeah, no, I did it all mobile. Like I was a mobile. I
I
came
see.
to you. I would fix your phone.
Gotcha.
And I tried to do that for about a year and realized, okay, this isn't sustainable. I was competing with the guy at the mall who could do it for a lot cheaper than I could. I couldn't get my hands on wholesale
There you go.
pricing, and I was priced too high. And so then I saw them all popping up. I saw the writing on the wall, right? I could not compete. So I closed the door on that, and I just went straight into technology. But what I'm saying is, like, I've always had that mindset where if I had a skill and people were interested and there was a signal, if you will, that, this could potentially be it, like I would entertain jumping back into it. And there were a lot of signals, right? There was a lot of people like, hey, I want this, I want this, I want this. And I was like, I can't get them out fast enough.
Right.
And, at one point, my commission list, people are still willing to wait a year and a half. I'm like, is that true? Like, to me, I can't even think that far out when it comes like to what I'm doing day to day,
Right.
but there's
Right.
people willing to wait that long. And, but so my point is like, I wanted something that was durable, something I knew, like I want to be able to put my figures on a fire escape. Why would I make something that I know the figure will break immediately? Or
Sure.
in the example
makes
of
sense.
fire escape made of foam, you lay it down once and it's crushed, right? I wanted something that I could put my own figures on. And so once I had one, then it was just like, okay, all these people that want fire escapes, because honestly, a lot of people want fire escapes. Here they are.
Yep.
If you want them, you can come buy them. And, over the years, like it just became demand, right? The more people wanted them, I looked at ways how I could make it at a rate that I could keep up with it. And it wasn't until this year that I, and we just talked about this a little bit before, that I took it on full time. It's always been this what I try to make is passive, right? Even though it was very time consuming making miniatures, is like a side hustle kind of thing I was doing on the side. And it just got to the point this year. It's like, okay, I can't sustain doing both. Like I barely see my family. I'm working every weekend. Mind you, that hasn't changed since I took this on full time. I work every weekend.
It's gonna go away,
Yeah,
but
it doesn't
sure,
go away. But I wasn't in two mindsets, right? Where I'm flipping in between. And I was in leadership. I had a lot of responsibility at the job that I ran, and I managed 30 to 40 folks doing very high-end stuff like it. So it was a lot of context switching, but that didn't change the urgency on either side. People want their work, or people want their work on both sides. And so everything was such a priority. Anyway, I got too far ahead of the timeline, but to answer the question, it was all demand, right? The signal was people want products like this, and I was like, I can do this. If they want them, here they are. And people bought them.
Yeah. And did you do, if it wasn't clear, I appreciate your work, and it's really great. So I'm flipping through some of the stuff as you were talking, and inevitably, like here. So as I was going through it, let's go. Erwin was asking, hey, did you mass produce those billboards? Because he knows that he bets that there's a bunch of artists that would create billboard art that could be interchanged like 100%. And then I, swooping through, I was like, yeah, here it is. But have you heard people doing that, like buying your billboards and then creating art to put on there?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are doing. Like, I've had a few customers say, hey, I need these for a conference I'm going to, because I'm putting my own logo up on them and using it as my signage. Makes perfect sense. Mass produce, I haven't done that. All these works on Etsy are basically build on demand, right? I don't have a surplus. I have a surplus of a few things that like we try to get out in a few days, like windows or HVACs, but most of the stuff is built on demand. So when it orders, it goes into a queue, and then we estimate, a week, 2 weeks, depending on how big they are. Sometimes 3 weeks
Sure.
for like the full 360s. So they're not technically mass produced. We could if we wanted to with the print farm that we have now, but they're all the same when they come out,
Yeah.
unless someone asks for a custom order or
No,
something.
plus you got to deal with storage and like all sorts of stuff,
Which
right?
is also a premium, right? Because
Yeah.
we keeping a bunch of parts. Obviously, we have Wall XD that we have a bunch of
Right.
inventory of, so that's
Right.
already taken up space in that whole side of it, right? There's really
Yeah.
3 avenues that we have. That's the manufacturer side, 3D printing side, and the custom side, and each of those things have such a large presence in the shop because they're 100% operating all the time. That we just chose for at least the 3D printed stuff to keep those on demand, because Wall XD itself takes up a big portion of it, from inventory, physical inventory in the shop, to the amount of space you need to paint and let stuff dry over time, right? So
For sure.
Anyway.
That's cool stuff, man. I love the billboard. I love the idea of like artists getting it and kind of like doing their own, putting their actual art up, or I could imagine toy companies doing it for whatever, right? Some Dio, and then have like a really cool stuff. Yeah, all of this stuff, man. I love the subject matter too. You got a TARDIS up in here. You've got the Iron Man. What do you call it? The Hall of Armor kind of deal. It's great stuff.
Even stuff for your kaiju, and if you're a 3D printer, there's files out there if you want them, instead of waiting on a product. You can use it as many times as you want. So try to offer a little bit of everything, right? Either for the creator or someone that just wants a straight display, right? Because I'm a creator at heart, I want to provide tools too. Things I wish when I was starting out that were out there, kind of like these brick rollers, right? Which makes bricks easier, excuse me. Still takes some effort to do them, but
I love that, because again, you had the experience of making them back in the day out of foam, and I love that. Let's see what other folks are saying before we move on. First off, this I think goes back to Jason Demon's work for the Rise of the Fifth Sun. I'm with you, Blake. Man, it's getting dangerous. People are showing toys that won't really appear for like a couple of years, and I'm already like, buying 2026 toys and 2027 toys. People love your art. Great sketches. Dude, anatomy is a tough one. Beautiful work.
Thank you.
Man, you do really great work, and clearly, like I was gonna say when you were talking about I was using reference, like that's so much of the game, right? In terms of just observing and paying attention to details, and kind of like just looking at a thing, going like, how is that done? So I'm looking at
it's all been done before, right? No one's really inventing anything new, and there may be edge cases where they are, but if you, and I learned this in IT, right? Someone's done this before. Go see how they did it. Put your spin on it to make it work, right? And that's what's so beautiful about the age we live in now, is the information that we can source is so vast, right? And one of the podcasts was like, "What do I do to get started?" And I was like, just go start doing it, right? Do it, and then understand the questions you need to ask to get yourself started. It may be different, right? And at this point, there's, I don't mean to be mean, but there's no excuse why you can't get started. The information is out there. You don't have to wait for someone to answer. No. You can go find it right now on the internet, right? Or whatever we're calling it these days.
I love how you said that. And I mean, that's like so much of my job. It's like I'm trying to be like, come on, guys, like
it's motivation.
Yeah, and you're also growing up at a time where we have like so much information at our fingertips. I think for them, granted, I think they're younger and figuring that out. For us older folks who spend a lot of time on the internet, we know this. Like, how do I fix my
We grew up with the internet, right? I mean, technically, like we were the ones that pioneered. We're probably why text is so big, because of AOL back in the day, right? I mean, that was us. I assume. I don't mean to be an ageist or anything, but I'm 40 years old.
I'm old. I'm 49, so there you go. But I'm looking at stuff like this, man. You have to observe like real world ventilation to kind of figure out what sci-fi ventilation looks like, or some of the other stuff. Of course, like a billboard. I got to assume that you're sitting there like looking at
over analyzing it. I'll go down the back alleys of malls. My wife's like, why are we back here? We're not supposed to be back here. I'm like, I'm getting inspiration. I love this stuff. Like the water tower. I looked at a
Yeah.
water tower for days before I even attempted to make it because I wanted to be if I tell you what a water tower was without looking at one, it's a drum with legs. But if I put that out there, people are going to be like, that's not a water tower. So I had to really go look. And like, I even still got something wrong. So the rungs, someone called out, like they space out higher or more farther apart as you get higher at the water tower. Obviously, there's a reason for that. And that's because the pressure of the water or the barrels against the wood is greater towards the bottom than the top. I missed that. I had to go back in, even after staring at it for so long, I had to go back in and put that in. I did go back and put that in though. But there's always those elements, right, that really sell the realism of the piece. And I'm trying to hit that realism piece.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I love when you were doing like the magnet AC units and all this stuff. I'm sure you're like, it's like I know too much HVAC terminology and like detail because you're probably just staring at this stuff to figure it out. It's really cool stuff. It's really great work.
Yeah, because you can go find blueprints of all this stuff out there on the worldwide. When I say internet, it's like an old person, but you can go find this out there and then really like.
Well, even when you were about to say World Wide Web, it sounded like an old person.
Right. I don't know what to say to her. Yeah. Online. Yeah. You can find this on the line. Sure. Anything, blueprints about anything you want to know, right? And build it right for yourself. It's all out there and available to you. You just got to go look.
Yep. So Etsy's your store, but the thing is, like you said, you've kind of got like your flagship product at this time. So that's all the stuff that's sort of made to order. You've got your factory created in a factory here in New York, actually, over there, I guess I should say, in New York. And so you've got stuff over at Big Bad Toy Store, including the Wall XD stuff that essentially like kicked this whole thing off. When did you remember when you did the first the Wall XD Kickstarter? Was that
March 2023?
Okay. Oh, okay. So March 2023, crowdfunded that successfully, started the product. From there, have developed accessories for that product and have been producing it. And you've since gone like full time. This is it. This is Dio-Bolic Studios now. And so you can find this stuff. You did the corners, etc. And then now, I love all of this stuff, man. Were these also factory produced? The shipping containers? Are you doing those?
Oh, those are made in house. Everything is made in
house. Yeah. Got it. So those are 3D printed items, right?
Yep.
Okay. There's your water tower. The researched, the all the hours of observing. I love this. All of this stuff, man. This is so great. So now you've pitched the natural sort of evolution. I love that. The natural evolution of the Wall XD, which really was meant to be more urban environments for your Marvel Legends, maybe, like Spider-Man and the New York City kind of scene, or G.I. Joe, whatever, sort of like our real world stuff. Right. But now you said the natural evolution to this fantasy or historical world of Mythic XD. I'm so curious. How did you make that jump versus, because you could go anywhere, right? You could do sci-fi, you could do a bunch of things. What made you go, I need to do Mythic XD? And how much is the answer, Trevor?
Wow. So honestly, Trevor was probably one of the first I'm going to credit with anyway, that said when Wall XD initially came out, hey, you should do something castle related, because it's not, as much as it sounds like, there's not too far a jump from bricks to large cinder block or large medieval walls, because what I've done here is try to ride the line between medieval and kind of modern bricks, right? Because you can have modern castle bricks, because my goal here is to keep a system, a line, Wall XD compatible, where they're not too different if you want to use them together, right?
Right.
And so initially, I'm not gonna fake anything here. Like Wall XD, Mythic XD, like the castles was not the next step. The next step was cyberpunk, and but the we've had ourselves delays, right?
Sure.
In December of 2023, I was at DCon representing Wall XD, and that next year, 2024, I wanted to do the next Kickstarter, which would have been an expansion of Wall XD that would have brought in cyberpunk, because there's not too big a gap there, right? That's just a few new wall styles and a few new accessories like those vents.
Right.
However, delays and stuff like that, I got to hear more feedback, and what I kept hearing was castle, right? And my thought was the next step should be different, even though it's basically the same framework. It should be different, and
Sure.
so that's where I was like, okay, I want to do castles. Not only was I shifting my mindset, because I've done a lot of city stuff. All my stuff has been city. Like I want to do something different, something more engaging. And so
Mhm.
with the release of this and what I've not shown behind the scenes, the stuff I 3D print has also evolved, right? More organic, more
Right.
trees and stuff like stuff you'll see in more mythical type settings. And so this was not only me producing a different product, but also having this different mindset and creatively what I want to create. Um, and so born out of that was what I'm hoping is going to be a success is Mythic XD. It's just Wall XD Wave 2, but Mythic. I really want to sell the idea this is different from Streets, even though it's backwards compatible, and it's really meant to align with more mythical fantasy type action figure lines, right? There's
Yeah.
only so many lines that go at brick walls, even though a lot do, but there's all these other ones, right, that I even have in my collection, sitting around me that they don't fit as well into gargoyles specifically, right?
Right.
Big dragons, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So that was kind of the look for me. The reason why I call it evolution is because underneath, right, even though it's evolved to me visually, right, it's the
Yeah.
same framework. It's the same DNA as Wall XD, right down to the tab
Yeah.
systems, the slots, and how everything's going to work.
Yep.
There's a lot of intentional reasons for that, right? We're trying to get some reuse out of parts. We're trying to make sure the factory understands what we're doing. That helps us understand price, but
Mhm.
also, it to me visually like it takes what I'm hoping with Wall XC to a new um, community, right? I really want to get
Yeah.
this out there. Not just that was one of the struggles last time with the original Wall XC is my community. I tap my community, right? I have a small community of folks that are really interested in what I do, but I'm really trying to expand that so they can see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring something to market that's different. It's based off all the information that I've received back in the community about dioramas and displays and what we
Yep.
want to see, right? Expandability, durability, to be able to maintain with a small collector or a big collector, toy
Right.
photography, animation, stop
Yep.
animation, and I'm trying to hit all those marks. And I really want to get this out there, and that leading to some of the reason why it's also named Mythic, right? There's this whole collector that's different from the action figure, whether that be um, you know Red Hood or
Sure.
Valaverse, Mythic Legion specifically, and all the
Right.
other mythical things, monsters and everything, have their own genre that I wanted to try to get a display for.
Mhm.
Um, Not only for my personal collection, because I do dip into my own product, right? If you
Of
look on my
course.
details, like they're all Wall XD. And what's funny
Yeah.
is they're all with 1/6 scale figures. They're all my Hot Toys, Star Wars, and stuff
Oh,
like that.
that's funny.
It is. It looks great
Huh.
though. It gives something more than glass behind it, right? Now I do
Yeah.
have some diodes from Vasco Toys and Ron from Lawless Studios and 796 Studios to call some people out. I keep their
Yeah.
diodes fresh in my detox too, but
Mhm.
the Wall XD put something behind it as well that butts up right next to the glass. You got a lot of real estate, but still put something behind it
Yeah.
that looks great, right? It's just a piece of glass or the wall behind your glass, right?
Right.
Um, anyway, I don't know why I went down that route, but my point is like I am intentionally wanting to do something completely different from Wall XD with the same base structure that is likely to hit and be a fan with a different community base that I'm not really a part of.
And as you say, like there's this notion of it's the next evolution because it's compatible. You use the word backwards compatible. There's something happening right now that excites me. Is like the guy who loves Lego, and that totally clicks in my brain. Who this is the same kid who, I grew up with Star Wars and vintage Star Wars, Kenner Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. And then all of a sudden He-Man comes out and you're like, oh wait, these guys are this small. And then all of a sudden this guy is this big. And for some reason was always kind of aware of that because I wanted them to kind of work together. And then fast forward, here we are now. Generally speaking, there's kind of 112. We know that they size differently. But what I've really liked these last couple of years is that people have been taking this Lego idea, like we're talking Mythic, right? Four Horsemen literally have built a system of figure parts that you can pop and swap. And so while the figures are awesome in and of themselves, the characters that they create are great. There's also this notion that like I'm collecting action figures, but I'm also collecting parts that I can then, you know, scratch that creative itch where like, you know, I'm not going to make my own figures, but I'm going to buy a bunch of Horseman parts and create my own characters. So now here you are with the playset component or the playset Dio display product.
Playset's a good term. I like it.
Yeah. And just the notion of like, okay, now what if we give people like we build in units that they can buy, and if they need some help to be like, okay, this is what you can make, or they can buy parts, see it as parts, and eventually start building their own thing. And you know how this is as a customizer yourself. I'm sure you've seen people who have bought Wall XD and done some customizing and tailoring as needed for their, you know, whatever it is. So there's also that component, right?
It's definitely needed. Like these are, even though we're finishing them, or in some cases, like the original Kickstarter had artist proofs, right? You finish yourself. That is the whole point, right? There's the people that want to be able to display it out of the box, and then those that are going to tinker and do things with it, right? And want to make sure that I leave enough space for that to happen, because I know that's going to happen. And even with, you know, Mythic, like there's going to be area for people to do their thing, right? We see it with kit bashing all the time. Let's leave some intentional room for people to kit bash these things. But the pop and swap, just go to back with that Legions. Like I've never experienced that. And at Titans Toys, they had a whole table full of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I didn't realize, right?
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
I knew it was a thing, but didn't know that was a thing, right? I'd never seen it. And the excitement on people's faces, like the amount of pop and swap, there really is. I didn't know how far it went until you see all the pieces lined up and how they fit. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Yeah. And so I hope that then clicks in terms of like what you're doing, because it's similar. It's like, okay, we have the idea of the Dio, we have but if you can create a system where people can collect Dio-Bolic stuff, whether it's Wall XD, Mythic XD, or later the Cyberpunk stuff, and then eventually just kind of create their own little thing as needed, right? Oh, I need it for this photo, or I need it for this shelf, or I need it for whatever. You know, I'm thinking about people like that are going to be at the shows, right? Jason, Spero, or the Corsair folks. Like if they need a display behind on their table to put in front of their figures, like there's all sorts of reason to consider this type of product. So obviously, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But,
you got a great point, because a lot of the vendors at Titans came by and they're like, oh, this would be great. Because, you know, when they're displaying their figures for sale, they're just up on a peg, but they're like, they got amongst themselves, and the tables around me were pointing and say, that'd be a great idea to display, you know, help sell. And I could hear them chat, and I'm like, that's what this is for. This is for, you don't want to have something that's a one use product. You want people to be able to use it as they need it, right? That's that built-in value, right? You're talking about the pop and swap. I'm looking at accessories in front of me, and we're going to talk about this, but I mentioned the peg, and maybe we get into this afterwards, but I just, because it's so, you know, on point here, like this is the original AC from, you know, the accessory pack wave 1.
Right, for the Wall XD.
Here are the bricks. Oh my God, come on, camera. These are the bricks for the integrated peg system of Mythic XD. And I'm just going to do two things here, just show you, like that's going to be the pop and swap for this diorama, right? That's
so you can have the anachronistic AC unit on your castle. And
you can't see that.
For sure.
Oh, you can't see that. But the point is like you could turn it into a medieval times instead of it being a castle, right?
No, totally.
You know, whatever.
That's the backside of the Disney castle that you can't see unless you're a cast member. As you walk around the corner and all the AC units are on the side.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. No, I think again, it's super smart. And so you mentioned that, and we'll get back to it as we go through. Why don't we go ahead and actually shift gears a little bit? Let's say hello to let's address some of the comments or just some feedback we're kind of getting in real time from folks watching right now, and then let's talk a little bit about what exactly is on the campaign. So let's see. There was a thing about the billboards. I passed that already. Where was I going? Okay, so Cyberpunk. First off, you did mention cyberpunk prior on a different show, and I'd completely forgotten that was actually part of the plan. So clearly Zio, I know Zio's work in the sort of world he's building on his shelf. I could imagine him just, going crazy over this stuff, that whatever you end up showing, and yeah, Erwin's feeling it too. Does that, does that come after Mythic now? Do you envision, I know this is a long way off, but do you envision that being also kind of a crowdfund thing, or?
I think so, because it
Yeah.
it all depends, right? Because I am a small guy trying to
Right.
do.
It's not like
I'm
you're
trying to
sitting
step
on-
in a big world. I don't have a lot of funding. What I'm
Yeah.
doing is in the time of, do I have the ability to do this kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have those vast connections. I'm hoping to build those, especially in this next step,
Sure.
what I've already built. But there is an idea. I have an idea of steps, and it's ebb and flow, to be honest with you. But I have 3 other categories outside of what I've done that I want to hit, and that's cyberpunk is one, sci-fi is another, and Western is the next one. At least
Nice.
that I've considered and have thinking about, or even have designs for. Wink, wink. But how they come out, it's all going to depend on what's hitting the market. If in a year time Western is now hitting because I really wanted to, there's just not a lot of figures now, it may be Western, right?
There's an Odious coming.
There is an Odious coming, and that that excites me, because action figures and dusters is just awesome, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I have a plan. We'll see if I can execute that plan. And every time I do it, I hope to do it better than the last time. The big thing I'm focusing on this time is going to be logistics and timeline from the operational side of things, right? Because, as an entrepreneur, small business, there's a lot of hats up here, guys. There's not just the Dio creating hat, right? There's all sorts of hats that you have to wear to maintain operations and the business. But anyway, so I hope to be able to, hit up these, and they're in the Kickstarter if anybody's interested, but just trying to tease out that, hey, there's more here, and I want them all to be compatible. I want to keep that pop and swap mentality, right? Because that's baked in value into the system, right?
Exactly.
There are some intentional things where stuff, does look, what's the word someone told me the other day? Because cookie cutter is, but that's the whole point behind the system, be able to scale it out at a higher demand, right? But the fact that you have that integrated peg system really helps break that up. And by the time we finish out this line, if we get all the way up to Western through all 5, like the amount of pop and swap here, you're going to have it there. That's the base foundation, what it is, but it's going to look different. It's going to look awesome. And there's going to be a lot of pieces to play with, I hope. Anyway, so what we're offering now in our Kickstarter is the second step, right? We've got way too in the future, and that is
that's my bad. I think you excited us, you teased us, and we're like, oh, cyberpunk. But no,
I'm excited. I'm already thinking about that stuff.
I will just say before I know you want to jump in, but this is definitely my thing. I don't have a whole lot of like modern figures. Like most of my stuff doesn't look like it would be hanging out in New York City. Like I don't have like regular pants or jeans on my figures. They're generally like wearing fur underpants or capes or armor, or like fully sci-fi. So it's basically like Masters Universe, that kind of mash up kind of deal. So this looks really cool to me. The idea that it could eventually mix and match with machines and, like awesome looking automatic doors next to a brick wall or something is my jam. Okay, so talk to us about what's coming with this thing that just started about 9 days ago. You've got, I should have done the report. So you've got what, like about 30%? Is that what I saw? 31%.
31%. We have 148 backers. We're just over 25K. Our main goal is 82K. With that main goal, we have our core of the system, which is the main wall, which I can show you physically what that looks like.
Cool. I'll bring it up here.
Couple options come with this. Lost my screen. So this is kind of the base unit. Now, there's more than what you see here, but you get the wall with the integrated peg system, which I'll show off in a minute. You have the tab covers on the bottom. You got your base plate. You got technically 3 different window types. You have this open frame window that'll have 2 swappable stainless glass versions that are completely backlight. You can
That
backlight
looks
these with
amazing.
something. Um,
Yep.
you have the framed window, which has the veins in them for
Mhm.
your kind of frosted glass look, which can just be friction fit popped out. And then the third window is a throwback to the original Wall XD release. A lot of people wanted a window to replace that boarded up window, and I snuck that into this system as kind of like that extra head that comes with the other figure, Marvel Legends,
Yeah.
like a little Easter egg
Yeah.
type thing. So you'll get that in this set as well.
Did I
And
show
that
those windows right? Or are there other pictures? So this is more of a modern window, but then
that's
this
a
is
modern
that.
window. If you go to the tiers and the add-ons, you may have to actually go into, so go up to rewards in that next
Oh,
column.
gotcha.
Yep.
Rewards.
And then if you go into add-ons, oh,
If
actually
I
right
go
there in
in
that picture, click on that
in the
first wall
right
set.
here,
Yep.
this
There's
one,
that image. Does that image not pop out?
it doesn't click out, but that's okay.
That's interesting. So maybe that's some of the confusion. So Kickstarter is a little weird in its
Oh,
interface.
it's
A
more
lot of
than a
people
little weird.
unfamiliar.
I've said it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's not the
so
best system at all.
especially like when you're creating it and then how people interpret it, it's not what you hope to do. Anyway, there are the window options there, and there's an additional stainless glass that you don't see here. Is kind of the mystical
I
forest
see.
version, and then that's that vein window that will come with it with the frosted glass look. And so
Gotcha.
those are the two options for the Mythic wall, and then you get that throwback window for the original Wall XD.
Okay. And that throwback window was that sort of modern one that I was
Yeah,
referencing
that
earlier?
modern
Okay.
window.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it fits right
Gotcha.
into.
Yeah, that's smart. Again, you're building in like, hey, yeah, this is the Mythic one, but hey, consider checking out the rest of our system.
Yeah, so that's it there. That
There it
just
is.
fit right into
Oh,
the
I
brick
see.
wall.
Sorry, can you show that one more time?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. Fits right
good.
into the original brick wall, right into here.
Got it. Got it.
Replaces that boarded up window.
I love that. The whole roll down cover to kind of reuse the same basic wall with
Oh
the
yeah.
window already there, but you cover that up. That's cool. Super smart. So I'm assuming that's similar to this, where if you want to put the door on, the door sits on top of this window. Is that how that works?
Oh yeah. So the castle door fits right over. There's a peg over the window that the door will then peg right into. So then that covers
Okay.
up the window. Kind of like I said, there's a lot of
Yeah.
framework that we I guess I say we a lot, but there's a we behind the business. But that I thought about for the design, it's similar yet different, right? It's familiar to those that's had their hands on it before. It's a system I know that works, that people have.
Yep.
And so just building off of it. And while we're on the go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I wanted to show, here you go. So is this the best look at the door here, as well as this sort of door frame?
Yeah, that door frame there, the arched one that you got your mouse over,
Yep.
is one of the stretch goals. It's the last stretch goal in the campaign.
So that's actually solid, of course. That's a black sort of covered thing.
No, that's a hole all the way through. That's pass.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a separate wall. Oh, okay, got it. I thought you were just sort of.
No, that's a separate wall altogether. So one of the stretch goals, and I will say
where the
this
dragon's
again.
head peeks through. That's right.
Exactly. And all the stretch goals actually apply to your main pledge. For every wall you back, you'll get at least one stretch goal. So like, for example, that new wall, if we hit that goal and you've already backed one of the mythic walls already, you'll get an additional wall at no cost to you. Now you can go in and buy more if you want, but it's baked into that original pledge per wall.
Got it. So, okay. So this is great. Thank you. And I've heard you say this a bunch of times. Let's go ahead and just make sure that, so this is essentially the set, right? Right here, this main thing that I'm looking at. Is that right?
Yep.
So you back that. As things get unlocked, you get those other things. You don't have to go in and order them separately. They're part of this. And as you said, if you want more, you can add them more. That's really cool. I hope people recognize that and are like, okay, well, let's tell folks so that we can essentially like get more and more for what we initially pledged for, just because.
Exactly. So like in the rewards tier, there's a multiplier. So each tier is just a multiplier of the number of walls you get, all the way up to 24. And so for every stretch goal we hit, you'll get a stretch goal based on that multiplier, right? Whether it's 6 or 24, you'll get, let's just use the Kingdom XD as an example, right? You back that and we hit that first stretch goal, which is corners. That means you'll get and they're sold as a set, inside and outside quarter set. You'll get 24 corner sets
24.
with
Got
that
it.
set.
Got
You'll be able to build a full-on castle
Mhm.
for about $1,000.
Okay. So
Like,
essentially,
it's
that
ridiculous.
which is amazing. That's amazing. And if anyone does that, invite me over so I can witness it, because that's I ain't fitting anything like that in here. But so to go back, $59 is essentially the Mythic wall set. Now, if you
Right.
were smart like John of the Collecting Brothers and went real early and got those, how many did you have of these early bird sets?
100.
100. Sorry, Yoko. I'm reading. $40. That's amazing. That's awesome. Did those go? Those went pretty quickly.
Those were gone on the first day.
Yeah.
And really we wanted to get people engaged early on, right? Have something out there,
Yeah.
but also, respect those that have been paying attention to me yelling about this campaign leading up to it, right? And thank you for all those that saw it, right? I hope you thought that was a reward, because if we unlock stretch goals, guys, for $40, you're getting a lot of plastic for $40.
Yeah.
Like,
you're
just
getting,
thinking about the corners, like you're going to get a corner set if we get that unlocked. You're going to get the battlements, you get that unlocked. An extra wall potentially if we get that unlocked.
that's kind of amazing. Yeah. If you end up getting like the 4 Mythic wall sets, something gets unlocked, you get 4 of them, every single thing. That's amazing. And you're going to build a parts library. Like, you have officially become a blank XD collector at that point, and you have a ton of parts that you can essentially play with and do all sorts of cool combos. Yeah. Love it. Love the idea. Again, the Lego brain in me loves seeing the merging of that in the action figure world. Okay, so is there anything else beyond the sort of add-ons that you wanted to highlight? Do you want to talk through and take a look at the rewards?
Yeah, we could talk about the add-ons real quick.
Sorry, the add-ons and the stretch goals. That's the word I was stretching for. Okay, so let's talk about the add-ons, and where's the best place for me to visually show what you're talking about?
Right here. I think we can hit them high level, and as you scroll down, there'll be pictures of each one.
Perfect.
So the first one, once we hit our main goal, is going to be the corner sets. If you're not familiar with the corner sets, they are a set, right? There's enough pieces. They come with 4 wall pieces, 2 base pieces, and 2 connector pieces to make both the inside and outside corner set. That in itself is bigger than the main wall, just so you understand the plastic number there. But that's the first one, right? That's an inside and outside corner. So you get an L-shaped kind of display there. Second one is going to be what I'm calling the battlements, and this includes the wall and the corner. So that are the up and down bricks that you see archers shooting from for the main wall.
Sorry, I am a visual learner, so you definitely talk, but this is the corner to make this L internal and this outside L, right? So where I'm pointing my mouse.
No, so those are the corners. Yes, that's basically a set. That corner, inside and outside corner, that is a corner set.
Okay. And then you've got the battlements. Right?
Those are what sit on top of both the corner and the main wall. That will be your second unlock. And again, those are together, right? Those would be, because we know based on the unlock schedule, you've already got a wall and you've already got a corner, right? Battlements is next, so why wouldn't you get battlements? And the battlements will be similar to a corner where they form inside and outside. What we don't see there is the inside battlement, but we do have those when we show those off at Legion's Con.
Okay. That's cool.
There's pictures.
So that's not a separate thing. You're just like, if I'm getting battlements, I have the opportunity to do this, the outside edge as well as a internal edge. Right?
It works the same way. There's a spline in the middle that connects them, and you'll get 2 splines and 4 battlements basically to make either an inside or outside. And also below that little graphic with the unlocks are a little more clear pictures specific to those as well.
We'll get there.
All right, the next thing is going to be gatehouse door, which I showed off earlier. Where did I put it?
Beautiful.
Oh, right beside me. The gatehouse door. Shout out to my sister who painted up the prototype. But the gatehouse door, again, this is crazy. You'll get one for every.
Can we give your sister a little bit more props? So is this just like a thing that runs in the family, or what's the deal? Like, You get painters and what other 3D sculptors?
Yeah, I don't know. I remember as a young kid, me and my
Uh,
sister shared a room at some point in our, childhood, and she was sitting there as I was drawing. She was coloring. I said, "Hey, when we grow up, I want to be the guy doing the lines, and you're the girl doing the coloring." And took us a long time to get there, but I reminded her of that conversation actually a few weeks ago. I was like, "Here we are, actually
that's
doing it."
hilarious.
So,
I love it.
yeah, it's awesome.
Okay. So inside corner, there it is. Okay. Thank you. I should have been done a better job with the visuals. Okay. Corner, outside, inside. That's all in the set, as well as this piece, right? The sort of flooring.
Yeah, so there's actually two flooring pieces. They're shaped a little bit differently. The outside obviously is going to be bigger
Sure.
to make that outside.
Sure.
And then the spline that makes the inside you don't see, but it's basically an inverse of what that is there.
Okay.
There's a good one. That's kind of the right there
This
for the
one.
inside.
Right here and
Outside
right
and inside. And you see the bases are different. You get
Yep.
two bases, you get two splines, you get 4 walls to be able to make that corner set. So again, that's bigger than the main wall.
Yeah. I don't think people realize, as you say, like what this all means. So especially as these get unlocked, you're just getting a set. And
yeah, the whole point of the Kickstarter is to get the molds and that initial run made, right? I am by no means trying to ride off into the future as a millionaire, right? I want to get this stuff made because I want to enjoy it myself.
Yeah.
And so the idea of the Kickstarter is just to get this stuff made, right? And the way I'm approaching now is let's get a bunch of people versus just a small number of people. And I think this makes it very attractive because you get a lot of value baked into this the further we go up in our goals. So the next item here is the battlements. And again, those are inside and outside. We're only displaying the outside here, but the same concept as the corners. It's never heard the word battlements before.
I was going to say, see, you're educating. You're an educator too, Mike. There you go.
I think I don't think that's a real term. I think I'm going to coin it.
I think it is.
Is it? Okay, I don't know. But that's how I need to have words that describe it. And after looking at castle architecture for so long, I was like, I'm just going to call this a battlement. So battlements. Anyway, they work the same way as the corner set. They have a spline there in the front that allows you to flip it inside and out.
Okay, so there's that to do the corner and the inside and out.
Yeah, and then something cool about the battlement is it can also be placed in the base so that you get this kind of cool layering you could do in front of your castle or for shots, right? So just to playability, this is play set, right? You can mix it up. It doesn't have to just go on top of the walls. You can use it in the base to give like a perimeter or, change your shots. So you can make it like a larger castle, like if you have more walls in the background.
Or a castle in progress.
There you go, right? Whatever it may be. So that's the two battlements there. Wall battlement, corner battlement, and that will be a part of the unlock and then granted to the pledge for every wall that they backed, a part of the main tier.
I see. Cool. And that's it in place on your Wall XT unit. There it is in the outside corner. While we were talking about the floors, people did have questions. So Hella Geek was asking if you can actually, are there floor pieces to fill in the sort of courtyard? I know you've kind of got them following the walls.
Yeah, not in this Kickstarter. There will not be.
In this Kickstarter.
They're more bases to hold up the walls. And because of the amount of walls to build it up, you need something that has some sort of length, like physics, right, to be able to hold that wall up. And so that's why we're reusing the same base plate. However, they will look cosmetically different. They will, instead of just being the sidewalks, they will have this nice staggered stone appearance on them.
Nice.
To really just give that castle look.
Yeah, I saw those earlier when you're showing that. I was like, oh, that's cool. I hadn't noticed those. Okay, and then here's the door that you were holding up just a little bit ago. And Jordan from Canada was saying the castle doors look amazing. Shout out to your sister.
Thank you.
Paint master work. So so she's doing the the main one, and then the factory does the paint, or are you all getting them and you're painting them? You handle all the painting. Is that
We
right?
handle all the painting in-house. So the factory does what
Oh,
I
okay.
can't do because I really
Gotcha.
want to be a part of everything.
The
Right?
injection molding. They do
Yeah.
the yeah.
I can't
Got
go
it.
buy one of those machines, nor do I know at this point in time how to run them. So
Right,
that's where the
right,
factory comes in. They ship us all
right.
the raw plastic. We finish them.
Sure.
So we basically, I will pull the knowledge out of her head. I know how to do this myself, but how she did it. And then we'll
Yeah.
create a process, just like we did for the original Wall XD. We'll document that process, train the
Right.
individual who's going to be painting, and then
Mhm.
we'll create an assembly line of that to mass produce it, if you will.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that, man. If you ever get a chance and you want to share some of those secrets, I have always said, man, I'd love to be the fly on the wall in one of these factories making toys and just sort of getting a sense. And you do a lot of that for your made to order stuff, like videos and stuff. I'm
Yeah,
so curious for like the painting piece.
I used to, and I've gotten
Mhm.
so busy now that if I wanted to do that, I would need somebody with a camera behind me because there's a lot that
Of
goes into
course.
these videos.
Yeah.
These guys that
Yeah,
are
of
making these
course.
high-end videos, because you
No.
can't just shoot and do anymore. It's got to
Yeah.
be produced,
Yeah.
right? Or no one's going to consume the content.
Right.
So that's a lot of work in itself, and
It is. It is.
I just can't do it. Where up to the point where I feel like I could release it on YouTube. I would love to get there again at some point because I love that side of creativity.
Put J Shot and Machu to work.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
No shit. Here's the floor earlier. That's really cool.
Well, so
Okay,
this
I
is
see.
actually the unlock. So what we're going to do, the
Oh,
initial ones are going to be have the stagger stone with using paint apps. What this tier is, we'll actually go back and retool the wall or the floor bases to have sculpted in the stone look.
oh, so are you saying then if you hit this unlock that there will only be the sort of cobblestone look, or that this will be in addition to the flat look?
It'll be only that look.
Only. Got it. So it's just like an upgrade to the initial offering. So that, yeah, which I get, it's less sort of sidewalk flat looking and more.
Yep. So
Mythic,
instead of
for
using
sure.
paint apps to sell the sculpt in, we'll actually
Right.
sculpt it in. Yeah.
Sculpt those in. Very
Because,
cool.
like I
Okay.
was saying earlier, we are doing reuse to be able to bring more value into these and be able to provide them at a different price point. But if we can get to this point, like we will sculpt them in, right, and then
Gotcha.
basically retool
Right. A
these
separate
molds. Yep.
a separate cobblestone base now. Very cool. Okay. And then you reach 177K. Are we in that list still? 155,
Yep.
177. And you've got yourself that whole arch wall, like HOLE and WHOLE, right? So that is a true, like that's this whole separate wall. It's a
That's a
completely
whole
different
wall
unit.
by itself. Yep.
That's amazing. Yeah. And this is exactly, I think, what a lot of people have talked about of like, especially the people who went in for Baethier and maybe couldn't afford the actual dragon, but maybe got the head so they could get a figure. So they now have a head and a neck. They could, kind of work into a shot behind it, kind of a thing, or peering in. And
yeah, it's
very
roughly
cool.
11-inch opening at the top of the arch because that's a 12-inch panel.
Of course.
You got about an inch
Yeah.
there. So I don't know that you can sneak a figure in riding in on a horse, but you could definitely fit a dragon head potentially riding through on that.
I mean, it doesn't have to actually fit through. It just has to look menacing on the outside coming
That
in.
is true. That is true.
Yeah. Very cool. Oh, there you go. I can see a little bit more of that light. That's cool. Okay. And again, just adding more variety for this is the incentive, folks. If you're getting into this, man, the more people kick in, the more you unlock, and you unlock this. Now you're not asking people to buy this. It's just
You
what
can.
you get.
Let's say you
Oh,
only
yes,
back the
yes.
duo and you're only getting
Right.
2 and you really want to
you're
get
not-
4 of these.
Yeah.
You're right.
You're not unlocking it to make it available for people to then go back and buy. They're unlocking it and everybody gets it, which is awesome. It's really awesome.
So that's a lesson learned from our first Kickstarter.
Mhm.
So one of the big things was, okay, we unlocked these. Now we have to go buy them. With the way we priced everything then, that's how it made sense for the Kickstarter. The way we're pricing this time around is we've baked that in so that we're just getting the tooling and the first run done.
Gotcha.
Now we're looking at, okay, what can we do to make this more appealing, right? You add all this stuff in at a value. And as long as we hit this number, we can make this, right? And so that's the approach we're taking.
That's awesome. For the people that are here live and the people watching this on replay, I'd really love to know, like, and I'm sure Mike would love to know too, what are you planning on doing with these things? Because I'm curious, are they displays? Are they for photos? Like, just to get a sense of like what people are thinking with these things. Because I think it's a really versatile product, right? I think it's clearly for like the people who collect action figures or small things, I guess people statues or whatever, but who are looking to create a little bit of an environment, even if it's just a 11 by 11 or whatever. What is it? A foot? Is it foot wide?
It's
11?
roughly 12 by 13.
Okay.
We want to hide those tab covers, and once you put that on,
Sure.
it makes it about 13 inches.
So whether it's like that small space for like a focused little dio section of a shelf or something, or a castle, if you're doing photos, stop motion, I would love to see it. And I guess you can't really do links in YouTube, which I kind of understand why they do that. But man, if you have something just to give us a sense, like your work or whatever, I would love to see it. I'm always loving to see what people are doing with stuff. So it's cool, man. You've got really, I love the approach. I love the modularity, all of that. The way you structure the Kickstarter is really cool. And I love this piece because, again, it's that reminder that this isn't just like a whole new product separate from All XD. It truly is this next sort of evolution or extension of the line. And a little bit above that, I'll go back to it where you even tease. I didn't catch it the first time until you started talking to me about cyberpunk stuff, but like the different XD logos and stuff. I was like, oh, I see.
Shout out to the Chamba. He did those for me.
Nice. Okay, so then tell us about this. You don't have visuals yet, but just remind folks that like, hey, like Wall XD still a thing that you are.
Yeah. This is the Hail Mary. Hail Mary goal if this thing goes crazy, right? At 277. Basically, we're bringing everything in for what I'm going to call the Wall XD expansion. I mentioned it back in, earlier in the channel or the show, 2023 Decon, where I introduced a lot of things to expand on Wall XD, storefronts, additional walls, new accessories, and that didn't happen, right, for delays and whatever reason. We still have all that, and I've got pricing for it. It's all here based in basically this $100,000 tier is 2 new wall designs, which is a 3-window wall design. People got hands on it last week at Titan's Toy that comes with the fire escape, and then there's a blank wall that just has the peg system. There are new accessories, and then there are swappable storefronts that take advantage of that integrated peg system to go on your Wall XD. So just like the roll-up door goes on the front, a storefront would basically cover that entire wall with some signage that will be swappable as well.
Yeah. Very cool. People are throwing in ideas. Jordan from Canada saying just a concrete wall corner would be a great background for a one-figure shot. Yeah, I guess even those are real stripped back.
That's what Henrock was doing. He had one panel, and he did the Mythic Legion and the Mario. That's one panel with some great lighting and some know-how when it comes to just composition, right? And he made a great scene with one wall.
I'm looking at this list, though, and the one wall is awesome, but the notion that you get 2 brand new wall designs, new accessory set, I'm assuming that's like the AC unit, etc., like some other
vents.
things.
You saw them earlier, those same vents.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. And those connect using the same peg system?
Same peg system, yeah.
Nice. Beautiful. Fire escapes that are now functional from years of research now. And then a storefront, which is cool because I've seen your storefronts that weren't necessarily built on Wall XD. So you found a way to do a whole thing, for your system.
Yeah, I had the prototypes displayed, like I said, in 2023. It's just, things happen and we weren't able
it exists. People saw it.
It exists. Yeah, the designs have been out there. Cool. Typically, you find out about action figures, years after they've been thought about and planned and probably in production.
Right. That makes sense.
Anyway, but yeah, that's out there. It's kind of like a Hail Mary. That's what I hope to do with, future crowdfunds or pre-orders is kind of have that throwback to the previous. Like with Mythic, there's a whole bunch of other stuff I want to touch too if this is successful when we release Cyberpunk, right? So there'll be all that Cyberpunk build up and the very end, some Wall XD or Mythic XD expansion, right? So but yeah, that's kind of the evolution and what I hope to do with this line. We'll see how far we get.
That's cool, man. So these are the logos for the different places that Wall XD can go. Um, this is all, you said Chamba, right? This is all Chamba's work?
Yep.
It's Identity Kit. I love it, man. It's really cool. So have you revealed sort of what each one is? I can kind of guess, like, oh, that's cyberpunk, like far right, sci-fi in the middle. What's to the right of that?
Western.
Oh, that's the Western, of course. Yeah, like the saloon. Okay, cool. Love it. I love it. Okay. Dio-Bolic ends October 24th. The Kickstarter ends October 24th.
21st.
Oh, 21st.
Yep.
Okay. October 21st. Sorry, I'm giving all the wrong. Oh, wait. Sorry. November 21st. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. When it ends.
November
Yeah.
21st.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry. I had this etched in my brain because I've been seeing that.
Oh, yeah. It was launch day.
That's when you launched.
Yep.
Okay. Got it. So folks, check it out. I know a bunch of folks who are already in here probably have already backed. So anybody on the replay, please let folks know. Anyway, cool stuff, man. One thing that I haven't heard you say, or maybe I did and just never registered, the XD. What's the
Expandable
XD?
display.
Got it. Expandable display. Gotcha.
Try to
Okie
not
dokie.
knock this over, but we talked about the integrated peg system.
Yes,
here.
thank you.
This is kind of
So
showing off kind of what I have planned with this system. So you can see kind of the big bricks protruding out, which they won't be as proud. Those aren't pushed all the way in, but kind of the adapter I showed off for the previous Wall XD, potential with weapon racks. There's the flight stand peg, which would be really dope. These pegs will actually come with the Wall XD in that main package. So you'll get, and let me try to show this off without figures dropping everywhere.
Yeah, that thing is amazing. What you're showing right now. I'm curious, is that not on the Kickstarter? And why is it not? Am I missing
the integrated peg system is the weapon racks and stuff like that, the accessories. I took that out as not as an option to be able to get those corners in sooner. We are working on budgets and stuff like that. And the feedback I got was corners would be a bigger hit than some of the accessories, which I totally agree, right? It helps you build out scale.
Structure.
So I'm hoping to somehow figure out how we get that into the Kickstarter. I was hoping with some sort of backer number kind of thank you throwback to that. We'll see what number we can reach. But as of right now, the pegs you will receive. So the pegs, I don't know how well these come across. These are just painted, but you get the adapter peg for the original Wall XD. Accessories, like I was showing off earlier, they peg right in, or I can just take one of these out and show you. They peg right into that main brick.
Yeah.
The accessories themselves, kind of like this weapon rack you see here.
The medieval times, the AC unit, yeah.
Yeah, right. Holders for torches and stuff like that. They use these. What I'm going to use is the same peg system for these Mezco flight stands. Kind of getting two uses out of one peg, right? I don't know if anybody can see that flight stand there, but that flight stand just pegs right into the wall.
So that the actual flight stand is Mezco's? Is that what you said?
That is a Mezco flight stand.
Got it. So these are things that people have. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And the nice thing is you could potentially reproduce different ones with different peg holes, at least as 3D printed parts, right?
There is that avenue completely. So for anything, let's say that people want to come up with on their own, or I come up with, there is a stopgap with 3D printing 100%, right? That's how I developed all this stuff, right? That's absolutely, I just got to release the brick out there to somebody who either wants to create it or I can create it and offer it, right? We talked about this behind the scenes, but one of the things I want to do is I'm not trying to go out here and replace anything, right? So like when it comes to torches, I could design torches if I wanted to, but I'm not going to because there's so many creators, hint, that already making torches, right? Let's just make sure they're compatible, right? Same thing for the weapon racks. I am not in the business of making action figures. I'm not.
I was going to ask you who made that weapons rack that's on that.
Oh, wall. This is my weapon rack. But with the Savage Crucible and AWOT figures, we have such a what's the right word? Plethora, thank you. Why don't we put these out here for show instead of being in a box?
100%.
Huge ass weapon rack. Here's Odious. Like there's all these things. Helmets, right? We need a place to store these extra helmets. Why not have an accessory piece, right? And I'm going to figure out how I work this in that pegs into the system. This is using the same integrated peg system. because this could be a weapons room. This could be a dungeon room. I
Sure.
didn't show off the dungeon pegs, and since we're on the subject, and hopefully have a few more minutes with you, Brick.
You do. You've got time for sure.
I will take this out and show you.
Sounds just
Hopefully,
cool
all
stuff.
my accessories are going to fall off, which is unfortunate. But we can peg
When
in.
I was asking you if this was on the Kickstarter, I didn't necessarily mean to purchase, but just to give a sense of like what's possible or what could be coming down the line. That's what I was looking for. But I guess you probably don't want to confuse people at the same time. So
Yeah, because the plan was to offer these, and plans change as you develop and work into your system. But my kind of thought here with also like a dungeon look is you could do these chained accessories that I made, and have your figure kind of chained up here. How does Todd McFarlane figure?
Figure. Yeah, no, the chain.
And then you could have him chained against a wall, or whatever you want to do.
Damn.
And then you got a different look. You got a dungeon, right?
Yeah.
Obviously the bricks would match the wall, but that's all design stuff. But this is like prototype thinking, playability, really cool. Stuff like that, right?
I want to be in that dungeon because there's AC. That's really cool. I love
Let's take that out for a second. There's no AC in this dungeon.
Super thoughtful. He's looking for basically photo backgrounds, and that's exactly what you're gonna get. Yeah. You mentioned like we were talking behind the scenes. So, this one. So this is Jordan saying, really cool mindset, make something to complement what's already out there. Yeah, when last week, folks who are watching the show, I was with my brother. Was that just last week? Yeah, with Ted, and he was launching Imaginary Actions and sharing his torches as well as like the braziers or and all these other stuff. And he, Mike was watching. And it's like, hey, hit me up, and he's like, hey, what size are the handles and whatever, and it was just like, that he like was reaching out to this other person who's making this stuff to be like, yeah, I'd love to make, with that exact mindset, like how do we make stuff work together? Because in the end, like it's the collectors who are going to be buying this stuff and using this stuff who win out, right? Like we're not have to, I gotta get this, and but if I want to use this torch, I have to buy this system. It's like, no, you buy the Dio-Bolic XD and you've got all this compatibility. And to me, that's that community mindset, right? That's what I was speaking to earlier. It's like, again, we're all old men and maybe chilled out a lot in our old age and are talking to one another, comparing notes versus necessarily trying to like one up or like, compete unnecessarily. Where it's like, hey, let's make stuff that works together. That's why I think about like Mythic Legions. 4 Horsemen are the perfect example. You're going to go to Legions Con this week, and what you're going to see is, you can buy a bunch of 4 Horsemen figures, and then you can shop at all the fans and other folks creating custom heads, custom arms, custom wings, like custom capes that, the 4 Horsemen are good with. They're like, yeah, because then people are buying their figures and customizing it as they want, and it just leads them to buy more figures. It's like a nice little ecosystem of different stuff. So I applaud you for that, because I could easily see lesser folk being like, proprietary.
Well, you just said a word. It frustrated me from my technology years, and I'm sure you have with just devices, like having to have a single cord for one device or having 5. That used to frustrate me. Why do we have to live in that? Not only the community aspect is what I love about it, but also like that kind of frustration with products is like, now I have to go buy all this just to support this. Why not open source it, right? Yeah, make it so everything is somewhat compatible, because that adds more value to me, right? Or my set, whatever it is. So, but that's exactly it, right? I don't want to get in a spot where people now have to, I can only go buy these accessories, right? No, there's a way that it plays with everybody, even with other dioramas, right? This isn't to get rid of a display or a diorama. This is to be compatible with other dope Mythic style or even street style dioramas, right? As a complement, because you can build that environment, 100%. Right? And you want different looks. You don't want it to be all the same, because no city is that way for sure. And no castle, really, it looks the same, right? So all that to say, yes, you're exactly right, Brick.
Yeah, no, totally. It's great, man. And I love it. You're going to be going to Legions Con, and that's exactly the spirit of that place. It's like the spirit of like, it's not only Four Horsemen, really. You're going to see, as you know, Spero Toys, Brutal Realm, like all these folks who are there that Jeremy and company have sort of built around this like independent toy, showcase kind of thing. And he was here, and I just couldn't help but like applaud him for doing that kind of thing, because the whole it's corny, it's trite, but it's true. The whole rising tides lifts all ships kind of thing. The reality is, we're adult collectors. We're buying this stuff. It only makes it that much more likely that we're going to buy a bunch of stuff across different lines if they all work really well together. So there's also a bottom line argument, I would say. Hey, thank you. Folks, definitely go check out the Kickstarter. I'll put that in the links. And again, if you take a look at that QR code, that's way over there, as well as the banner that's coming across. You can check that out. You've got, what's the exact number? You have 18 more days to figure your stuff out and back some Mythic XD. So there you go. Hey, you're going to Legions Con. I know I said, hey, I don't know how much time you got, but let's see if maybe we got 15, 20-ish minutes to just zoom through some stuff that I think you're going to be seeing. I think it'll be good to get a little bit. Okay, cool. First off, I mentioned like all the different companies and stuff. Let's go ahead and start there, because I think there's another brand called Brutal Realm that I talk a lot about here because I love this stuff. People think, oh yeah, you shield. No, no one's actually said that. If they are, they suck. But I imagine I have imaginary critics, man. That's how messed up I am. But I talk about this stuff because I think it's awesome. And so I think Brutal Realm is going to look awesome in front of a Wall XD. I think you're going to need thicker chains though, because these dudes are like beefy.
These guys are beefy.
These guys are going to be there. You'll be able to like see them, and then you probably already have. Were they at Titan with you?
We've already talked about some displays.
Yeah. Okay.
I know the guys at Brutal Realm. Good guys. Known them for a while. So
great. So they're going to be showing this guy off there, as well as a bunch of other prototypes. But this is sort of the newer one that they've been sharing. So this was a couple of weeks ago. They showed the renders, just to give you a sense of what they're going for, which is sort of like, this is their army builder, the Shadar, the kind of like they're essentially like the baddies, the ones that the stormtroopers, if you will. And so I love that they're building in the 3 different heads so that you can actually build like different types of units and stuff in this army. So this was the render. I think it looks really great. It's one of those things that this came like later in the sketches were there, but we never actually saw renders during the Kickstarter. But a lot of us were like, cool, give it to me, like almost sight unseen, right? Based on the sketch. So it's kind of nice now to go like, oh yeah, that's that cool thing that I ordered. Here is a little bit close up on that render. You can see all that cool little details they've got going on in those phases.
They look great.
Yeah, they're going to be really great figures. But what's really, really cool is that they've shared this stuff. So this will be at the show at Legions Con. You can see this latest prototype. They've sent some pictures, and I think I can throw some in real quick, but just to take a good look. But what's your thoughts on sort of like this line, I guess, in general, but also just the idea that we're getting so many different new toy companies doing like creating their own vision?
Yeah, dude, I love the indie idea. Like, I love seeing creators take their passions to new heights, right? And really just go all in and know from a collector perspective, like what we want to see, right? And we're seeing it, right? Yep. Look at these, like, specifically the team that worked on this, I know what they like, and they're putting it into their toys, right? They have a specific taste, and they're very specific on how they want things, and they're seeing it done, executed. I think this looks great. I want to see it with paint on it too. I know we will soon. But I back these, and I'm ready to see them in person.
Yeah, I like I said earlier, man, I've bought toys clear through 2028 probably at this point. And so this is one of those lines where I know it's going to be multiple waves of just good stuff coming. They sent me a couple of pics. I was just going to share a couple here, but like, look at the what's going on in that shield.
Oh, the sculpts are just crazy great.
Yeah. And what's wild is like we have plenty of sort of like skull motif dudes with swords, but everyone's doing something just different enough. Like I'm looking at this and this is so cool. And I was talking to Brian Burke and showing off his Action Oath stuff
Yeah,
a
his
couple
stuff's
of
good.
weeks ago, but it's like, they're not the same figures, you know, like they're motifs and just like, it's everything that like young Brick wanted back in the day of these like hordes of vicious looking soldier type things. So anyway,
It's just what you were saying earlier, right? There's space for both of these to live in,
yes.
right? And
Yep.
both of them are so unique. They're different, right? And we're going to want
Mm-hmm.
both of them. Like Burke stuff is just amazing. This is amazing. Like I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, man. You know what? They're all going to look really good in front of some walls, I think. So, I mean, you know, I'm teasing, but it's 100% true, right?
It
It's
is,
like
right?
this stuff is going to look so good in front of your work. Like, and that's the thing. People can be, yeah, they get it. They get it. They get it. All right. Another crew that's going to be out there this week is Spero Toys. And this is something that hasn't been shown yet. This is a weapon that is actually that we haven't revealed yet, actually seen in this form. So folks will know, will recognize whose weapon this is off of one of our upcoming sort of, gosh, oh, my brain dead. It's not brutes. I keep wanting to say our brawlers, right? Just showing this because I think 2 weekends, I think is the plan after everybody gets back from Legion's Con. So everybody being Jason and Adam are going to be the two Spero folks there this year. I'm not going. Derek's not going. So those two are going to be handling sort of a half-size table because, as folks probably already know, we didn't make our goal of trying to bring in the brand new brawler figures before Legion's Con. So, but there's going to be plenty to see. I don't know what Jason's going to be bringing exactly. I don't know that he may bring this because this is something that he has in his possession. But if you want to see this as well as a bunch of stuff coming from the factory, look out in about 2 weekends after everybody's back from Legion's Con. We're going to be doing a show with Adam on a Highly Articulated Channel, another episode of Monkey Business. And we've got a lot to show, actually. We've got a lot to show. I'll be doing the Kickstarter update and the Kickstarter backers will see it first, but there's quite a bit to report from the factory in terms of just sort of factory progress. And we're hoping to get stuff out before that, that time when the new year, essentially, right? The festival. So
Awesome.
There's that. I know, have been getting into AWOC quite a bit as well. I think you said you're sitting in a pile of unopened AWOCs,
and that's from that's two Kickstarters ago. That's pandemic Kickstarter. Yeah, and so dude, I'm a huge fan. Like just the way it was presented, the Kickstarter, the indie scene, like just the anamorphic, like the comic book.
Yeah,
like it's just all right up my alley. They've been executed so well. You guys are awesome people.
Yeah, man.
They're on.
Yeah, it's a really cool team of people doing some cool stuff, which is why I was like, who ran on that too. So going back to Brutal Realm, Rick Jones and the beefiest guys in the realm, brutal, 100%. Jordan's good. Legion's Con is going to be so good. You all are going to have fun. Are you going, Jordan? Are you coming out from Canada? Is that the plan? We are definitely spoiled in 2025. So cool stuff. And yes, AWOC and dope weapon. That'll look good on a weapons rack on a Mythic XD.
It was.
So just saying, man, it all comes back to that. Okay, let's jump to the guy who is helping to co-produce and run this whole thing that you're going to do this week. Jeremy Gerard of Four Horsemen. And this is his account, Mythic Customs, because dude started as a customizer and a fan. And that's how this whole thing started. He wanted to bring other fans together and he wanted to show off his customs as well as his buddies' customs. So they started this thing called the Meetup first, and then eventually became the Legion's Con. And so it's also sort of a big anniversary year for him and his customizing work. So he always has like one of the best displays of custom figures at the show. So you're going to see his booth immediately and you'll see some of these awesome creations. And I love that Jeremy's always been real good about like just not limiting his palette and being like, oh, there's this piece from this McFarlane that inspires me, or there's this, this weapon from this line, or there's this piece of soft goods from Black Series and I want to work it in. So it's just kind of cool to see him do his thing. And this is his flying monkey that he sort of showed off a couple of weeks ago. That's going to be making it to the show in a couple of days. So
that's awesome.
I'm jealous. You're going to see his stuff there. Oftentimes he has a little bit of a theme. And so I don't know what he's doing this year, but this is more so like a big anniversary year, 10 years of Mythic Customs.
Oh, wow.
So these are all different pieces. I think the head here is, what is it? The head and neck are from a Mezco figure. Then you've got bits from a figure obscura, Necronominus stuff. So it's cool because I think he's like you, right? He's a part of this thing. He's a part of the Horsemen, and part of his job is to sell stuff. And his whole thing is like, yeah, like I understand how people play with this stuff as customizers, and I do it myself too. So let me show you. Like if you're having a hard time envisioning what it could be like to play with Mythic Legions figures and make stuff, let me show you. So have you looked at his stuff much, or is this kind of newer stuff that you're seeing here?
This is all new to me. I know Jeremy did the registration process this year for Legions. And so that's what I was doing just a few minutes before. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I gotta go follow and check out this stuff. So this is new to me, and I'm gonna look through it, and definitely this is a table I'm gonna be at just checking stuff out. Because I like that idea, right? He's not just focusing on one action figure line, right? To your point, like he's finding the best of whatever somebody's did to make a specific look that he's going after, right? Which is cool.
Yeah, man, he does really, really good work, which is partially why he ended up working at the company, right? Doing really cool stuff. Okay, I'm gonna do it, Josh. I'm gonna do it. All right, so there's this guy, Josh Brown Customs, who you might have heard of, Josh Brown, and he's gonna be in the hallway selling his awesome custom stuff that he does, right? He works with different 3D sculptors and artists now, and he's like all about the community, man. He's like working with different people, trying to put stuff together. He first reached out to Dave Igo of Monsters and a bunch of other, like, he's designed stuff for NECA, Mondo, etc. Amazing sculptor, loves the kaiju. And he's like, hey, man, I want to do something for the Mythic Legions trolls, the big old giant trolls. I don't know how familiar you are. But he's like, okay, can you do like custom heads for these trolls? And so he's like, yeah. So he comes up with 2 kaiju creations. See if I can bring them up. One of them is this head here that you can get to create this character. So he comes up with a character. And then Josh then turns around and reaches out to Erwin Papa over here, who was in the chat earlier. Amazing artist. And he's like, dude, Dave Igo's designing this thing. Can you do the illustrations for it? And he does these awesome illustrations. And here's Dregazard. Like, I see this thing and my brain's just firing off, right? It's like classic kaiju 70s stuff, a little bit of Marvel comics here and there. And so here's the Who writing. I'm like, man, he needs like a 70s kaiju comic book, monster comic book title treatment. And so that's what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, is like trying to design this stuff. So this is me, started off with like hand lettering. I wish I had my pictures. I have my pictures. I'll bring them up. But I was just like, hey, dude, would you mind if I like threw out some ideas? He's like, yeah, dude, let's do it. And so that's one right there. That's Dragazard. That's the logo type that I sort of came up with him. And this is Spikehead. This is the other character.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, look out for Josh. He's going to have, part of what I did with these is like make these cards. So these are just the cast off stuff, but essentially like the cards that go around the baggies. They don't look like this at all. I just wanted to have little printed things for me. So
that's cool. They look
it was
great.
fun. Thank you, man. It was fun. I totally Who write it. And I was like, hey, I ended up collaborating with Dave Igo, Erwin Papa, Josh Brown. There you go. And so it was fun. It was fun to do like these hand-drawn stuff and to try my best to like mimic what Erwin put down, because I messaged him. I was like, damn, dude, you made that really hard to do. But
you
but it's
knocked
cool.
it out though. It looks great, man. I can
Thanks, man.
appreciate especially lettering, like great lettering, and that looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, I was missing. I've done a lot of digital stuff in my day, and so being able to like start here. Let me see. I'll bring up some photos. I can do it. But to start off like drawing and just sort of sketching stuff out, I have like just whatever I have here, like a small sketchbook. So I like to work big and then scale back. And so what am I trying to show you? I'm like drawing out this thing, but I'm like doing them big in this notebook. So I'm doing them like a letter at a time and then piecing it together later. Here you go. This is what I'm trying to show you. Open image, a new tab. So starts off with the pencils, right? And I couldn't fit it all on one page. So I moved to the next page and end up here with Spike Head, and then kind of just end up putting it together in the computer. And from there, printing it out. Thank you, San Francisco Unified School District. And then doing just the inking thing. So super duper
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
Tons of fun. And that's where I go. So I won't be there at Legion's Con, but thank you, Josh. Because I kind of be there. So I think that's rad. Anyway, yeah, that was a fun little thing that I got to do, and I'm super happy that I got to do it because he's a cool dude.
that really completes a product, by the way. Good lettering with a lot of thought put into it completes a product, and that looks amazing.
Thank you.
And Josh Brown, what you put together looks dope. I can't wait to see it in person.
Yeah, he's like the maestro, bringing everybody together. So on top of that, he's gonna have all this stuff. So he's done stuff for like toy tubers. So like Kevin of Enablers fame, of the international syndicate that is the Enablers, he created a toying around piece that can work on some Legions figures. He's done one for Dan Larson. So he's got stuff for Robo. So all of that stuff is super cool. Here, let me show you the one thing. And hopefully it all makes it, because I shipped it straight to the hotel because I was afraid that it wasn't going to get to him in time. So I was like, okay, here you go. Open image, a new tab. And this is basically what we end up with, is the idea. So that's the product. Obviously, the thing inside it is not the actual product, but
yeah, it's going to look great.
See? That right there, that's how you who ride. That's what we old people say call who riding. Yeah, but yes, I love it, man. And to me, it was cool to be like in the spirit of Legion's Con. It's all you guys making cool stuff, and 4-H, creating that space really, like particularly Jeremy and company. Is it Joe Viteri? Yeah. Them two putting together Legion's Con and kind of creating that space for, of course, the Four Horsemen to be there and everybody. So it's awesome. So I will definitely be there in spirit, because that's all I can afford this year. But I'll be there. And yes, Josh Brown is the one who pulls it all together. There's tons of talent, man. That is a talent in and of itself. All right, man. I think that's about all the ephemera one can handle on a Sunday evening before one has to finish grades up this week, and another one has to fly out to New Jersey. So what's the quick schedule? When can folks expect you to kind of be there? Are you going to be there like Wednesday night, Thursday night?
Yep. So have a show on YouTube, Topless Toy Talk, Tuesday night. But as far as Jersey, we'll be flying in.
Time out. No. Hold on. Rewind. Okay. Can you explain to the folks Topless Toy Talk? And I'm gonna assume it was Jay Shot who put you in the position to end up on Topless Toy. Am I right?
Jay Shot puts me in all these situations, and I take all the situations as face value, but I think it's going to be fun. It's always fun, right?
Can you explain? Yeah, explain to folks who aren't familiar with Topless Toy Talk.
Well, I'm going to be learning a lot actually because I've not watched it. I
Oh,
know the collector who's been a
okay.
great follower on Instagram. I don't digest a lot of the podcasts on YouTube these days.
Okay,
There are
okay,
a
fair
few that
enough.
I
Fair
pay
enough.
into. So going into this one completely kind of unknown. Um,
Okay.
and I guess I will be finding out. But yeah,
Oh,
I don't know what I'm getting
I
into.
apologize if I gave you if I sowed any unnecessary intrigue and if you really don't know, I actually here I'm going to tell you because I hope I hope Jay Shot doesn't get mad at me and I also hope that I don't make you mad. Here, hold on a second. So you don't know anything about it? What do you think the name's about?
Toy Talk.
If there's a word before it, like
Oh, I don't know. I just figured it was like a topless Wolverine pun.
ah. Oh man. Okay, so Jay Shot, it's your fault for not being here if you didn't want him to know. Um okay. Okay, hold on. Allow me to do this.
Oh, yeah. I have planned to get stickers. Okay. Yeah, I plan to get stickers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is
so
great.
just I actually yes. At first I was like, "Oh man, I feel bad. Maybe Jay Shot wanted to surprise you." But actually, I don't feel bad at all because I would have felt bad if I didn't say anything. So, good luck, buddy.
I'm somewhat kidding. I kind of know,
Oh, okay.
but
Okay,
I
good.
haven't seen
You
every
scared
episode.
me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah, it's going to be an interesting show. But I'm looking forward to every show that I go on. So,
Okay.
but
Well,
so
you're
that's
welcome.
Tuesday night, and thank you
Okay, cool.
for making
Okay.
sure I knew what
Yeah.
I was getting into because Jay Shot definitely didn't tell me. I'm assuming he knows that I already know,
Okay.
but that's not always the case. Sometimes I'm very good at looking like I know what's going on. And so anyway, we'll get into Jersey Thursday morning, roughly 8 o'clock. We're actually going to go hit the factory up
Oh,
since it is in New York. We're going to say hey to
sweet.
Dynamic Plastics. I just got
Mhm.
to confirm that tomorrow. Make sure he's going to be there. But that's the plan. And
Jersey
then
or New York City?
it's
Or
actually in New York, that side of New
New York,
York.
New York.
Yeah,
Sorry, New York State.
yeah, New York State. And then we'll do the live stream. Pretty sure Chubbs is going to do the live stream again
Yep.
Thursday, and
Mhm.
then Friday is the hopefully everything arrives like it's supposed to because I'm just shipping stuff out tomorrow. Don't tell everybody, and then setups Friday, right? I'll be out in the hallway with Josh Brown and crew,
Nice.
and then obviously Saturday, Sunday, just hanging out, and then we'll be back home early 8 o'clock Monday morning. We'll be back here like nothing ever happened.
Awesome. And then you've got however many days to keep pushing that Mythic XD. Right on, man. Well, awesome. Tuesday, I will try to watch. It was a little bit, I don't know. I didn't think I was a prude, man, but watching Machu and Jay Shot on that show. Sorry, did I lose you?
No, I'm
Maybe
here.
I lost you. Okay. Watching Jay Shot and Machu, it was a little bit of like sort of like kind of watching but not watching. I'm
I
not a
mean,
prude,
like,
but
there's things to look at on me.
oh,
So
okay, there you go.
not
Okay.
just my chest and my face, but there's other things that could distract you.
I bet you're
Uh,
regretting trimming the beard though. You're like, oh damn, if I just had a little bit of length.
yeah.
No, I think that speaks to my trauma of being a uncomfortable with my unshirted self as a child. Anyway, dude, no, it's gonna be fun. It's always fun. They put on a great show. It's super fun, and I just when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is a thing. So, yeah, right on. Just strategically hold the walls, maybe.
Like place a microphone and
Right.
yeah. Make sure
Awesome,
the camera.
man.
I'm gonna be super close to the camera.
Yeah. People don't realize that the news actually from waist down, no one's wearing anything.
Everybody's
So,
Donald Ducking
yes.
right now.
Hey, man.
Donald Ducking. I'm just
Thank
kidding.
you. Thank you for coming through, man. I had a lot of fun sort of hearing a little bit about your story. I know we've run a little longer than I said. I would say that's part of my culture. But anyway, I love what you're doing. I really do. I think you've got like a really, really cool way of approaching this thing. I love the modularity. I think it's very 2025. I think it totally works for the way that we collect now and the way that lines are coming from everywhere, right? It's like we're used to buying from a bunch of different companies now. Let's find a system that could work with a bunch of these figures. So always great stuff, man.
Thank you.
And thank you to everybody for watching. If you wanted to know what all of his tattoos are like, go watch him on Tuesday. Okay. All right, folks. What do I need to tell folks? I just need to tell you to keep checking back the channel. There'll be some shorts coming up again this week. This Friday, instead of going and hanging out with these guys, I will be sad but happy because I'm going to be sick. And then here watching G-Con right on the TV and just freaking out about the amazing toys that are going to be there. And again, buying toys for 2026, 27, 28 or whatever. So look out for that. It'll be me. It'll be Ed Action Figs. I'm not sure if Oz is joining us. I think Rob Zamora and a couple of other folks. We're just whoever is sad and not at G-Con will be on a live stream here on the Brick Something channel watching. So you have fun, man. You just have a blast talking to everybody about your work, enjoying all the cool toys, and you know, we'll see each other after that. We'll talk a little bit and we'll hear how it went. Okay.
All right. Sounds great.
All right, man. Thank you to everybody for watching. This is where I try and end the show by playing some music, pretending I'm Kevin, awkwardly talking as it closes. Wait, whoa, wait, hold on. You can't do that. Hold on a second. Wait,
Cyberzoic. I just got these in. These are the mechanical packs to the dinosaurs.
Wait, I didn't realize those came out.
Yeah, they were a Kickstarter a few years ago.
And I just don't remember. I didn't realize the armor parts had shipped out. I know the Smilodon was out. That's cool.
You know what's interesting is so I hung out with lost my mic, Jason and Chris, Chaotic Chris at Titans Toys. Yeah. And so Monday I came home to a big box of Cyberzoic, and I've had the figures for a while, but all the armor from that Kickstarter was on there, and I got a bunch of them to play with. Like I went crazy with all these. I still got to put them on some of the dinosaurs.
Oh hell yes! And dude, it transforms. Those are like transformers that turn into armor. And dude, you buried the lead. Like, what are we looking at all that other stuff? I'm just kidding. That's cool, man. That's awesome. I love it. Right on. Okay, folks. Sorry, I got distracted by the shiny toy. See, this is why I get in trouble. I end up buying toys through 2029. All right, folks. We're really out of here this time. I'm playing music now, so that's it. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Whack. I'm so not Kevin. Kevin says funny stuff at the end, and then he clicks on stream. So pretend I said something funny. Bye, everybody.